Whatever your personal opinion, Brexit is happening, and its impact on the Premier League could be monumental. When the referendum result was announced, it was met with a very mixed reception. But how will it impact football? It's very hard to know exactly what will happen to the game in the UK, unless, that is, you're a few seasons into a save on the latest Football Manager. But it seems likely that our transfer window may be set to become as boring and pointless as watching England at an international tournament. The main hurdle that all British clubs will face is work permits. Football Manager has predicted 3 different outcomes of Brexit's effect on football: soft Brexit, hard Brexit, and a cushy middle ground Brexit, where footballers are given special exemptions. A soft Brexit would mean that free movement of workers remains, and so footballers will be unaffected. Hard Brexit would mean similar rules would apply to EU players as those that currently apply to non-EU players. The third option would see footballers granted the same special exemptions that are currently given to entertainers. This means it's easier for them to obtain work permits than other people, and it will not have a huge impact on player movement from the EU. If we take the hard Brexit scenario that is one of the simulations in FM, then all European Union players looking to join the Premier League would need a work permit, and current players would be granted special status to remain playing in the league. During the Brexit campaign, it was quoted that around 200 players at top-flight clubs in the UK wouldn't have received work permits had Brexit occurred earlier. Amongst these players are Anthony Martial and, man of the moment, N'Golo Kante. The current rules that apply to non-EU players requesting a work permit are as follows. A player from a top 10 nation has to have played in 30% of their games in the 2 years prior to the date of application to be granted a work permit. A player from a nation ranked 11 to 20 must have played in 45% of international games. And that percentage rises to 60% for the next 10 countries, and finally for nations ranked 31 to 50 is 75%. If a deal isn't brokered with the EU about the free movement of workers amongst European countries, which allows any EU national to work and live in any EU country, then the work permits would be required by any player from outside of Great Britain.
You didn't say the magic word.
Roughly, the overall percentage of EU nationals in the Premier League is 38%. And over at Chelsea, the percentage of appearances by EU nationals is a whopping 74%. On top of this, so-called homegrown players like Cesc Fabregas, who is named as such due to joining Arsenal's youth academy at the age of 16, wouldn't have qualified for a work permit because of his lack of experience. What this means is, Premier League clubs wouldn't be able to recruit and nurture young international talent, which would adversely affect the quality in the league. But it's not just players who'd be affected by this ruling. Club staff, such as managers and coaches, may face the same restriction. The current manager monopoly the Premier League boasts could become a thing of the past. Fans would also face more difficult away trips within Europe, with short trips across the Channel to France for PSG away becoming a little bit more tricky. However, there could be some positives for English football. With less international players joining the Premier League, young English talents would, you'd think, stand a better chance of breaking into the first team at Premier League clubs. British managers might get given a fairer crack too. There's currently only 9 Brits managing in the Premier League, but with fewer foreign gaffers being eligible to work in Britain, it could be good news for bang-average jobbers who thought they'd never work again. Outside of Europe, markets like Argentina, Chile and Brazil, who are all comfortably sat in FIFA's top 10 nations, will become more desirable and approachable. With it easier to gain a work permit for these countries than many EU nations, Britain may see an influx of South American flair, opening the door to the next Neymar, making his dream move to Charlton. Whilst the outcome and the way in which Britain leaves the EU is yet to be decided, what we do know is that British football looks set to face choppy waters. Brexit may mean less foreign transfers and a dismal, boring league, or it could just be the thing that saves English football from the endless cycle of major tournament humiliation. Let's not hold our breath.